Dyer and his troops spent some time gathering the empty cartridges, not paying any attention to the blood-curdling screams and cries that had filled the air. They turned around and left for HQ, as if it were just a training exercise. Welcome to Law Stories, where we uncover the history that was never taught to us. After reaching Rambagh, they counted and recounted the 1,650 empty cartridges, to be sure. By late evening, the news of the massacre spread throughout Amritsar. People had gathered there again, this time searching through the piles of bodies for their relatives and friends. Jallianwala Bagh was drenched in the blood of innocent Indians and the tears of their families. Some of the wounded had managed to crawl out the entrances, down the lanes, only to die there. It was a gruesome sight. After shooting the people mercilessly, Dyer did not revoke the 8 p.m. curfew. People who came in search of their dead relatives were forced to leave, fearing that he might return to shoot them. The dead were left there in piles, out in the open. But there were a few who decided to stay back, irrespective of the consequences. One such woman was Bibi Bhatia.
Okay. We're talking about Ahadith Bhatia, wife of Bagh Bhatia, who died in the Jallianwala Massacre on Baisakhi Day in 1919. He was perhaps a timber merchant, and Ahadith Bhatia came to know, she panicked actually when he did not return home, and then somebody told her that there was some gunfire shots in Jallianwala Bagh. So she went there. It had almost become dark, and she went there with the help of few people, trying to trace her husband. She found him nowhere. Then she started searching the bodies, and Bagh Bhatia his body was found lying under 3 other bodies. So she had literally no help. She started asking for help. Then she went across the street to somebody's house and asked them for a cot so that she could put the body and ask people to take him home. So when we met her, years afterwards, after that tragedy, she told us that the government had offered her, British government had offered her 25,000 rupees and a citation as a compensation for that loss of her husband. Had she refused, she said, "I will not take any money for the martyrdom of my husband. He died for the nation, and that is about all." I think she lived her life in great penury. She was very, very poor in a way, but she was extremely self-respecting. She had 2 sons, Sonlal and Monlal, and whatever life she lived, she was being honored by the local people and also by the government in many ways. But whenever she used to meet us, she used to recount that story. Okay? Then after years, the local municipality decided to have some commemoration or give her some honor. So there is one lane in the town by the name of Bibi Bhatia Marg.
Meanwhile, at Rambagh, as Dyer had returned, Irving and Watkins, along with other teachers of the Khalsa College, had arrived as well. Dyer, however, wasn't happy yet. He set out for the city again with Irving at 10 p.m. to make sure that the curfew was followed. Later that night, after many arguments, Watkins and another civil servant called Jacob delivered Irving's recorded statement to O'Dwyer in Lahore at 3 a.m. on the 14th. The statement read, "A meeting had been advertised for 4:30 that day, and the general had said he would attend it with 100 men. I did not think that the meeting would be held, or if held, would disperse. So I asked the general to excuse me, as I wanted to go to the fort. I learned that the military found a large meeting of some 5,000 men and opened fire without warning, killing about 200. Firing went on for about 10 minutes. I went through the city at night with the general, and all was absolutely still. I much regret that I was not present, but when out previously with the military, the greatest forbearance had been used in making people disperse. I had absolutely no idea of the action being taken. From the statement, it is obvious that Irving wanted no part in this. O'Dwyer, on reading the statement, sent Kitchen to Dyer for more details. O'Dwyer also sent an urgent message to Shimla. At Amritsar yesterday, Brigadier General Dyer and Deputy Commissioner read proclamation in city forbidding all public meetings. Prohibition proclaimed by beat of drum and read and explained at several places in city. In spite of this, meeting attended by 6,000 was held at 4:30 p.m., contrary to Deputy Commissioner's expectation. Troops present under General Dyer fired, killing about 200. Deputy Commissioner not present, military report not received. Kitchen arrived in Amritsar at 6 a.m. on the 14th. Dyer informed Kitchen, "I was merely doing my duty." Dyer also wrote a report that was sent to General Bainon, O'Dwyer, and the Government of India. We have a copy of the transcript, which we have put up on our page. You can find the link in the description. Based on this, and on the opinions of Bainon and a few other people, O'Dwyer sent a telegram to Dyer to the effect, "Your actions are correct, and Lieutenant Governor approves." Meanwhile, massive funerals were being held at the Hindu Durgyana temple and the Sultanwind Gate. Hindus and Muslims had come together in their grief. Many succumbed to their injuries as no medical care was made available. For the longest time, the British haven't accepted that they tried to suppress this massacre. Nothing was proved against them. Until today, we spoke to a family that was directly impacted by this act, and they will give you the details.
So when the massacre happened, the market, which is just outside, was where all the traders, of which we were also part of the trading community over there, we were all situated, and so our forefathers heard what had happened, and they could hear gunshots and everything that went about. After this, what we have come to learn is that the British wanted to cover up the entire event, and they wanted to completely disguise this oppression and maybe give it another twist, or perhaps change history in terms of what actually happened. And they had called 4 prominent people from Amritsar to give their statements in maybe a court of law, or what was to be published, or what was to be sent to the Queen and recorded. And one of the members who were invited by them was my great-great-grandfather Rai Bahadur Ratan Chand Mehra. Now, Rai Bahadur Ratan Chand Mehra already had the title of Rai Bahadur. He already had the title of OBE, which is Order of the British Empire. He was doing a lot of activities in and around Amritsar, as I've already mentioned to you. And his word counted a lot. A lot of people looked up to him. He was a prominent figure. And what he would say would be counted and would be recorded and would be part of history. His next stature that would be granted to him was the title of Sir by the Queen, and which was coming up on the Queen's birthday that year. And as far as we know, that they had asked him to cover up the story and to deny what had happened, or to say that maybe it was mob incited, or somehow cover up what actually happened. And he did not.
When we think of the Jallianwala Bagh Massacre, we think of a few minutes of shooting at an unarmed crowd by a madman. But there was so much more. The months to follow in 1919 saw one of the worst atrocities committed by the colonizers. It was not one man's doing. It was not just dire. In our upcoming videos, we will show you the story to follow. The story of the men and boys stripped naked in the street and flogged till they lost consciousness. The story of the people shipped off to inhumane cells simply on the whim of a few officials. The story of the men who were raped by the police. The story that your books have conveniently left out. If you like this episode of Lost Stories, make sure you like and share this video. Don't forget to subscribe for more content. You can read more on our blog at www.beneaththeink.com and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. A huge shout out to Ranjit's Swasa, a Royal Heritage experience in Amritsar, a must-visit location where you can live the history of India.